Um, I'm almost on time. I just was a minute late. Excuse me. Allergies are really kicking in real bad right now. But welcome. Yeah, I just had something going on. I thought I might be a little late, but my husband got home, so he's taken over the emergency. So I'm good. Just catch my breath here. Well, I'm so happy to be back. I was off like maybe 6 weeks, maybe seven. So I gotta find my camera. So um, I was looking at my laptop, so I got my camera. Um, like I said, I'm pleased to be back. I This has been the project that we're going to be working on has been on my plate forever, and it was by request. And I kept telling Rita, I said, I promise I'm going to do it. I promise I'm going to do it. Well, the day finally came. So I'm really happy about that. So, oh, and there's Rita. Hi. Okay. So I'm, glad I finally got this put together. Um, oh, these allergies, all of a sudden they just kicked in about an hour ago. So I think it's going to be, fun. And I'm, like I said, but I should say what we are. This is Keeping Your Brushes Busy with Nancy. I'm Nancy Smith, a one-stroke master elite director. And um, a while back ago, I changed to having this Facebook Live every first and third Facebook of the month. My goal is maybe toward later, a month or so more, go back to weekly. But, I'm not going to, like, let me wipe my eye here. The allergies, like I said. Um, I just don't want to promise right now. Um, I think first and third might be the best thing for me. But so let me just comments I know are working here. And I think let me just go ahead and get started. You know, it's also what I like to call Thankful Thursday. I'm very thankful um, that it wasn't me that saw the long, long black snake in the backyard today. It was my husband. He said, I don't want to scare you, but we had a snake along the fence. I went, ugh. You know, that's mostly been my second snake since I've been here. I know they're common. We live on a canal, so we can expect anything. Um, but I've been fortunate enough to only have seen two snakes since we moved here. And I can't count this one because I didn't see it. So let me go ahead and change the camera and we'll start. Because I painted a little 8 by 10 for this, just so we just aren't seeing this pathway on a piece of paper. By painting a little project, it shows the perspective of what we're looking for and what we need to do when we paint. And this can apply not only for a stone pathway, it could go for a dirt road, just anything that you have this little path that's going through town. It could be a cityscape, it could be a landscape out in the woods, it could be on the side of the road. So I'm going to turn it around and we'll get started here. You know what? Yes, okay. This is what's a little interesting this time too. I had to change my stand a little bit. Okay, so here we go. So here's what I put together to demonstrate this pathway. Um, just to point out some things before we get started, because I also thought, I don't want to make this like Art 101. We're not here to take a school art class. But there are some things that I need to point out, that we should know as we're trying to paint, pathways and things like that. And um, I want to say this because when you're looking at some paintings, you, sometimes, um, especially a beginner, might be off on perspective. Like they paint a a nice painting, but as you're looking at it, you could say there's just something not right. There's something off, and probably 9 times out of 10, it was the perspective of the elements of the project. For example, this path you could see is going out into the distance. You know, it's not like you're looking at this and you're looking at flat stones all the way down. You could actually see these stones look like they're going farther and farther in the distance. And that's just one element of this thing called perspective. Now, this is what they would call like the vanishing point. In this case, the vanishing point is right here. And it's, to me, it's not like a true vanishing point, because my process here was this path stopped right here, but it didn't like stop. It's going down. If we could see the other side of this hill, this path would be going down. And how I made it look like that is I just angled this rock over a little bit this way, and then I added some bushes here. And so that's how you can see, okay, when I'm looking at this, you can see the path goes here, and then, and then in your mind, you can see, oh, this is going over the hill. It didn't stop. So if I were to make like a vanishing point here, my vanishing point would be more up this way. And why I say that is, I'm going to take my ruler right here. This is my end point, and all the way down here is where my visual starts here. So if I were to take a ruler, I'll do it this way. See, I would have a line here, and I don't want to chalk this because this is my real painting. But let me real quick get it chalked, just a second. I probably could chalk it a little bit. I'll try to be light. So I would have a mark like down this way. And then because I ended here, I want to end it about on this side to have it, the same. So then I would put my ruler here, and then I do my chalk mark, my point right here, and then come up. So you can see then, yeah, you really can't see, this is the real painting. You can see then my pathway stayed basically within this line. Now, it doesn't mean you have to have these rocks always on the line, but the whole pathway design is going to be within this little area right here. Like these rocks came out this way a little bit, and then here I added a little flowers here. So that's what I talk about. And you don't have to have a vanishing point within your canvas. Your vanishing point could be off your canvas. But what that means is when you make this pathway, you don't have like a little tiny dot ending. Like well, let me show you on paper real quick. And I'll use this, I'm going to be using this for something else too, I think. Let me turn this pin. So here's like the bottom of our canvas, let's say. And here's the let's say here's our canvas right here. So I want my project to I want my path to be here and here. And over here is could be other things. But then I don't want it to end within my design. I want it to look like it's the big path is continuing, so I can make a vanishing point out this far. So then when I do my line like this, this would be the big, like, let's do a step. Let's say steps, for example. We'd do steps, then come here, steps. And as we kept going up and up and up the steps, you could see how they're getting smaller this way, as well as we would make them shorter in the little step thing this way. So you can see, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so fuzzy. I think it's because I was going fast. Let me see if I can click that. This is one of the issues I had lately. Let me find my longitude symbol. Here we go. Okay, I'm not sure what oh, here it goes. Okay. So, so you can see, like, even in this paper, a drawing, we're here, and it got smaller, and it to the end of the design. And it's wider here because my vanishing point was off the canvas. Okay. So but I'm going to explain how to do the rocks after we do the base coat here. I just want to get the base coat of this design first. We're just going to, real simple, draw a little bit of sky, paint a little bit of water, and then have our field right here. So let me move that around. And so for this 8x10, I got about 2 fingers worth of sky. So I'm just going to come back here and do like 2 fingers. I'm just going to go ahead and use my ruler, and I'll draw us a line. Don't use pen, but I don't have a pencil there. And then let me slowly try to bring this down. And then I got about, 1.5 fingers of water. So I'm going to go that. So I'll go about like right here. Now the water, I can come down a little bit more because the grass and everything, I want some of the grass and the flowers to not be covered just with ground. I want it to be able to go into the sky. I'm sorry, the water. I want to be able to like see through some flowers and see water in the distance. My colors of the sky are, I'm going to use 2/3 of sky mist, and I have to look at my notes because my notes are on like 5 or 6 different pages. Okay, I have sky mist here, and so I just got a little bit out here. And then I also, for the sky, I want to use a medium blue. So I have that here. Oops, that's devotion. Medium blue. Here we go. The paints I always use are Folk Art multi-surface paints. So I have Sky Mist and medium blue. And then I'm going to use more Sky Mist, the medium blue, because here again, I don't really want to spend time today on what they call let me see if I can pronounce it, atmospheric perspective. But basically, what that means is the farther back in the distance you get, in the atmosphere parts of the, like the back, like when it gets more, not foggy looking, but in a way, I can't think of another word right now. It gets more hazy, um, not as distinct. The pictures aren't as distinct as they are in the front. So um, that's why this water here doesn't have like a lot of color. It's more of a faded color. And so I'm achieving that by using 2/3 on my brush. I'm going to double load 2/3 sky mist and 1/3 medium blue. So I have my 3/4 inch brush. My brush is dry, so I'm going to dip it into clean water, and then I just tap it on my paper towel. Good afternoon, Pat. I'm glad you could join. Oh, Rita, yeah, help me. Said less detailed, exactly. Yeah, so it's like, okay. So this is just a canvas paper, and I'm just going to paint the sky first. And for that less detailed thing, this is going to be the horizon line. No, this is the water line. So here's the sky and here's the water. So because of that, and I want this to be more faded and things, when I double load here, I'm double loading 2/3 sky mist, 1/3 medium blue. Gonna go back and forth. You may or may not need floating medium. I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to use it because this is just a little piece of paper here, canvas paper. I'm going to turn this way so I can paint this nice straight line. And I have to tell you, for these kind of things, I'm standing. When I sit, if things aren't perfectly straight, I could be crooked. But by standing and I'm looking straight down at that, I can see, okay, here's my straight line. I'm going to keep sky mist along the line here. And I'm not going to have a distinct dark and light, but I am when I'm coming back. When I come back and get paint, I'm just keeping this side brush on this line, and don't go over the line. I just went over. So be more careful. I'm going to be more careful now. So I'm going to slowly make sure I have that sky mist line. Then I can go fast. And when I go fast, that's when I can get that blend. Okay, so I'm going to go back and get more paint. I'm just making this sky. And then also when you go back, quickly like that, that's when you can get a variety of colors in your sky. It won't be just one color. I'm not doing clouds. I'm just going to do blue sky. It doesn't have to be smooth. It could be choppy. Just going to go like that. And if you want a little more blue, just dap some blue and then go back. But that said, keep, this line lighter. So there you go. I'm going to turn like that. So you can see that it's lighter here, and then it got a little darker up here. Okay, now for the water, I wanted to use, I'm using not, dark blues. I want this to be in the background. And so I chose Deep Ocean Blue. I love this color, Deep Ocean Blue, and white. That's what I used for that. Oh, and I know as this bottle, I'm going to use a new bottle just so I don't have to struggle getting paint. Now I'm not really going to clean my brush. I'm just setting it off to the side for right now. But on my palette, I'm going to do Deep Ocean Blue. Here again, I probably put more than I need, just because I don't want to run out. And then here's some white. Now these two colors, I'm going to go half and half. Like I said, I didn't clean my brush. I'm going to wipe off that excess. I'm gently pinching and pulling off the excess. So I still have the dark, I mean the blue and the light blue from before. So on this blue side is going to be my deep ocean blue. And then I've got white over here. And like I said, half and half. So go like that. Now I'm going to paint this where I want to have, I'm going to paint this. I'm going to let the white go closer, but I don't want that white edge. I want deep ocean blue. So I'm going to try to make it more of a blue edge. There, see, I do want a blue edge. I just don't want a dark blue edge. So I'm going like that. But I don't want more white either. So I'm just going to go like this. Now I'm saying this because I didn't want a real difference of blues in the sky and water. I have seen oceans, especially in Hawaii, where this horizon line was blue, 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 the darkest blue I've ever seen. And I remember seeing that and thinking, if I were to paint that, people would think I don't know how to make that atmospheric perspective very good. But I've seen it. I've seen it where the line was dark, dark blue. And so if that's what you want to do, go for it. But I just am making this a little lighter right here. For that. Okay. Now for the rest of this, I'm just going to paint green. And the colors I chose was fresh foliage. This is fresh foliage. And see how much extra I have? So that gives you an idea. If you do an 8x10, you don't really need a lot of paint. So I have fresh foliage here. And I just want a touch of white. Oh, and I got white on there already. So I can't sit now on this. So on the blue side, I wipe my brush off. On the blue side, I'll do fresh foliage, and then I'm just going to do a touch of white. And I'm just sort of going to mix it here as well as on the canvas. So I'm just going to, and this is just undercoating. These are my final colors. But down here, this is just going to be an undercoating. So I'm just going to get some paint here and go back and forth. Not worry about strokes, colors, or anything. Even though I'm going to have foliage pounced over this line, I do want to be a little careful when I get paint up that close. But I don't have to be perfect. And I'm, brush mixing on the canvas, go faster. If you so desired, you could use your sponge. So I'll come here. And when I said I wanted just a touch of white, it was because I wanted to make this like the medium value of my field. So that's why I just have a touch. I just have a little bit on my brush here. I just didn't want pure fresh foliage. I wanted a little lighter than that. Come back. There we go. Okay, so that's that. That's the base coating. Now, for the next section, I'm going to wipe my brush off and just set it off to the side for a minute. I haven't decided if I'm going to use it or get something different. The next section is you can let this dry and you can trace your path. Like here's the path. If you would like to use a pattern, let this green dry, and then the path is the pattern right here. Not the stones yet. We're just around the outside of the edge here is the path, and you could freehand that. Um, and you can freehand this next part, but I just want to let you know that I traced mine um, because I wanted it to be exact for my rocks. But on this sample page, I'll just freehand it to just give you the idea of what I'm going to do. Now the next step is, okay, this was the medium base. So for the path, I wanted it just to be a smidgen darker. So to get that smidgen darker, I added to my fresh foliage burnt umber. I knew it was burnt umber, but I want to check my notes to be positive. So here I got burnt umber. Just going to use a touch. So I'll do a touch here, because what I want, it doesn't have to be perfectly mixed, but I want to mix. I don't want it to be blotchy. So I'm going to take a touch on my palette knife, and this is how I mix paint. I have my puddle of paint here, and I just start with a little bit, because if you start with too much and you've ruined your paint, then you're going to have to keep adding and adding more of the dark color or the light color. So I added a touch. It's not enough. I'm coming back, adding a little bit more. This could take quite a while. Don't get impatient like I can. And then next thing I know, I'm stuck with a lot of dark. I'm adding a little bit more. Okay, and then what you could do to see if you're dark enough, take your palette knife and hold it up. So I'm still not too dark. I still want to be a little darker. So I'm going to come back here, get a little bit more. This is where I get to the point where, let me just grab some burnt umber. Next thing I know, I got almost black, you know? So just go slow. Okay, and check. Okay, one more, and then I'm done. You'll have to just imagine. Okay. Yeah. See, now you can see a little bit of that darkness. That's what I want. Yeah, I didn't want a brown dirt path under these stones. I wanted it to be like it was on top of the grass. But because it's a path, I wanted it a little darker. See how you could tell that's a little darker, especially when I paint it. Okay, so for this, just to show you that you can paint it like, you know, freehand, I'm just going to paint it on here using these colors, but I have to tell you I have a dry sample off to the side. And I will use this brush since I already had it out. So the path, if we look at it, it starts just slightly at the edge of the water here, and it's just going to come around like this. But keep your perspective in mind. It's skinnier down here, and it gets wider, almost the whole width of the canvas down here. It's not important to know exactly where your stones are at this point, because I wanted some of this darkness to come out on the side here. So what I'm painting is going to be bigger than this little area of the stones. So I'm just going to glance at that to see what it's supposed to look like. I'm going to move this in front of me so I can see. So I'm going to start like right here. And I'm just, you know, like it's just going to come down like this, round, and then come off. And then this is down here, come out like this, and then this goes, goes more off like that. Okay. And then just paint it. Here again, this is an undercoat. Um, um, you don't have to be exact. Now, could you have traced the path before you base coated this area? Yes. Um, I just chose to do one solid color um, instead of doing the tracing ahead of time. So that's how you would do it, and you don't have to let it dry. You could just paint on top. But now at this point, I would, if you're going to do your stones traced, I would let it dry. So I'm going to move this off. Okay. I'm going to wipe my brush off and stick it in water. I'm moving some stuff out because there's one other, now I want to just, while it's drying, I just want to give a quick demonstration about these stones in perspective. And so I got this paper. Oh, let me get another paper. Okay. So I'm just going to get my ruler again. And let's say we want a stone path that is, this is the bottom of the canvas. It could be, I guess. And let's say we want it to be our bottom of our canvas. We want it to be, let me see, I think I wanted like 3.5. Yeah, so let's say we want it 3.5. This is the bottom area. And we're going to go all the way up to the top. So I go in the middle here. You don't have to know exactly in the middle. I'll just make a point up here. That's not important. But then I'm going to make my lines. And you would do this with chalk. Because I don't think you'd want to do it with pencil. I better, let me turn off my phone before I get crazy. Brenda, thank you for, now I'm for learning again. Thank you for your interest on that. Let me just, I got to remember not to be so quick under the camera. So there we go. Okay, so here's going to be my path. And I'm just going to now demonstrate when you're painting, whether it be like these flagstones we're painting, if it's bricks, if it's dirt, whatever it is, the same concept's going to apply. Well, maybe not so much dirt, but definitely stones and bricks and those kind of things. So let's say my first circle, and I'll just demonstrate with a oval. I'll do oval. That's easier. Here's the first oval. Now on our canvas, we are like looking down. So that means when I'm standing looking down at this very first one, I'm going to see the bottom of it. The side, not the bottom, the side of it. So this part is going to be shaded. When I paint this, I'm going to paint this, my color of the stone, brick or whatever I'm doing, but then I'm going to have some shade down here. So now let's go up to the next one. And it's really nice that we have these things to help us. We got those lines. So now I'm going to make my next oval. But another thing about this too, as I go up, our ovals, these, are going to get thinner. So this one's going to it's going to be a little bit thinner. So I'm painting this oval. Okay, and so where this was this much, now I'm a little bit skinnier. Now this is also, I'm going to see some shading, but not as much as this one, because now I'm looking at it this way. So it's coming here, so I'm going to have shade, but not as much. Now I do the next one. I know now how wide it is here, but in my mind I got to think of it how the height of it, I guess, or the width of it here. So this was more, this was a little less, this is going to be a little less right here. Then I come up here, make my next oval. It has to be skinnier than this one, so I come like this. Now I hardly have any shade here. I just, when we get to this part, we're going to be using our script liner for that. Then we come here, now it's even less. And like I said, these are all now, we're at script liner shading marks, lines here. And then by the time you get probably here, you're just making like little lines like this, little circles. Now we're down. And then when you get way up here, you're just like making little lines. You don't even hardly see a oval. But there we got from the widest and the deepest, I guess is the word to say. And as we go up, it gets thinner. And then if you do that and you do this shading part, remember to make bigger shade here, go less and less and less and less till there's nothingness. You're going to have that perspective. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Yeah, because at the beginning, I mentioned it bugs me when I know someone wants this, but oh, let me just show you the difference. They'll go like this. And keep all of the colors the same and have no shade, don't have the shading. And I know I went a little bit out of my lines, but I hope you can see the difference. This actually looks like you're walking, you actually are looking down, where this is just, it's like they got smaller. It's almost like a triangle or a pyramid of stones. So I hope that helps for that. Okay. So now let me go to my project. And I do like to trace. I made a pattern. And I will confess, I got this as an AI. I go to Canva. And I told Canva, I said, I want a flagstone path going through the meadow. So this is what they gave me. Well, they gave me 4 options, but I like this one. So this is the one that I'm sort of copying. I changed a little bit of stonework here, just to fit into the teaching. But I used this picture. So using that, I made myself a pattern. So I traced the pathway, and like I said, I went a little bit wider than the stones to offer me some dark green areas on the sides here. I traced the stones. Okay. You could, if you wanted to trace the little mounds of flowers, but I didn't do that because that's just scruffy. How we're going to paint it is just scruffy, and you don't really need a pattern. But I did do a pattern for this. So I'll take that off. Oh, I wanted to show you, for those who don't know how to do a pattern, if you get a worksheet pack and it has a pattern, I always like it on tracing paper, and I'll tell you why. If I used my real paper that you can't see through, and you start tracing, and then you realize, oh, my pattern got off, you can't, it's harder to see where you should put your paper back down. Where if you use tracing paper, you can see, what you've traced, and you can move this paper easily. And that's why I use tracing paper, and I tape it at the top. So, but if it should wiggle, I can find my area real well. But then you have this I call that tracing paper. That's transparent paper. I don't want to confuse people. That's transparent paper. This black is the tracing paper. And I say black because I have black, but it comes in all different colors. Like if you have a dark background, you could use white tracing paper. And you just stick it underneath, the shiny down. And then I prefer to use a stylus that has this nice little ball. It just makes a good, it just traces nice on that. So just do that. Okay, let me move that. So now we're here. Okay. So now, like I said, I traced my path, and I traced my stones. So now let's do the stones. Now, okay, I watched a ton and ton of YouTubes on painting rocks and painting stones and different things. And because they're all painting, you know, like fine artist type painting, they use like 100 steps. Not really, they use like maybe 6 steps, 7 steps, 8 to paint something like this. Well, this is one stroke. We're quick and easy, and we can get that same look. And I got it down to 3 steps, maybe 4, if we want to tweak it. And I'll tell you how we could tweak it. But for this project, I only made 3 steps. So I'm going to get my palette. And another thing on these stones, we want a base color, which is a light color or a medium color, and then we want a dark color, and oh, that's where I changed it. They had all these different tones within the stone. I broke it down into 3 tones: light, medium, and dark. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm keeping it with gray, the gray look. But this would still apply if you wanted brown flagstones. So for my gray, I have, I got medium gray, and you can mix them with black, but I thought, you know what, I got the grays, then I don't have to mix. So I have a medium gray, and then I'm going to use white, get some white out there. And then let me see what other color I had. Just medium gray and white. Oh, and I used a touch of thicket, but that's like in the shade part. Okay, there we go, just a touch. And like I said, you can use black and white and do all your mixing, but I just chose to use gray. So my first, and I'm going to use a smaller brush. I'm going to go into like a number, this is an 8. 10 or 8 is a good number. I'm going to start with 10. That's a 12. Maybe I'll just do 12 and 8s. What was this? Here's a 10. Okay, and I started at the front because that's sort of, if I started at the back, even though I traced, I wanted to make sure I got the length of these rocks, not the width, but the length correct. So I'm going to start at the front, and I'm going to make it with medium gray and white. I know what, let me get more white. Because I want it to be really light, so I am gonna mix a bunch, so I'm gonna make more white there. So I'm gonna start making a very, very light gray. I knew there was something wrong with what I was saying. So we're using light gray, medium gray, and dark gray. Yes, that's the colors. So I want to make my light gray first. So I got a touch of gray. And I'm only mixing because I didn't have in my stock a light gray. I looked. I have everything else. I have steel gray, which was too dark. I have platinum, which wasn't quite right. Um, so I have to mix. I just want a light gray, just enough that you know it's gray. Maybe a touch more, just a touch more. But I need it darker than white, because my highlight color is white. Do that much more. Okay, there we go. I'm going to do a little bit more, I think. Like I said, if you have light gray, just use it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start up here, down here, I guess. So I'm going in here, and because I've traced it, I've already, got it on here. Now, these are stones, so don't stress with perfection. And we're going to be adding stuff to it, so I'm just going to, scruffy this stuff in. I'm pouncing, I'm tapping, I'm getting color down. And then, okay, now I go to this one. Now on these bigger ones, I actually did trace the shadow area. But on these back here, I did not. Because you don't have to trace the shadow area if you didn't want to. Like, see, I have this right here as the shadow area, because you would just paint over the background. You don't have to trace all that stuff, really. So I'm just pouncing and getting some roughness color in here. This is the base color of the stone. Oh, and I should say, this is the blue tape. This is the edge. This is the edge of the canvas, the 8x10. I am going over on the tape, but that's not my canvas edge. This would be my edge right here. So I'm just going to go through here, and I do paint faster than what I normally paint when I'm painting by myself, but on Facebook I am. But this is okay to paint fast. You don't have to be perfect on this. And also, I gotta see where am I? I got one right here. A lot of times too, when I'm painting, I would maybe only paint 3 or 4 rocks, and then start adding the dark color. That would give me some blending in there too. So I might do that too. But these big ones are the ones that we want to add stuff to it. These ones back here are, like, they're nothing. They're just little touches because they're so small. And you probably could use a bigger brush. I just like a smaller brush so I can scruffy it, so I can tap it, so I can twist. just do stuff like that. Get that base down there. So I'll just get this going. I'm sort of getting excited about going to a convention. My husband and I talked. We decided to get I decided get respite care. So I'll be able to enjoy convention. Hopefully be able to talk with people better than I did last year. Okay, now come this. Okay, now I'm in the real thin parts. They're just like not even a fourth of an inch. I'm just adding little stuff now. And if you should get big, if you should get bigger than you wanted, it's no big deal because we're going to be adding a little bit of grass in between here. But see, now I'll just tap, tap, tap and finish that up there, right there. Okay, so here's the most, this is the top of all these stones. And you can already see just with that much that it's going back. Okay, so that was the undercoat. So my mid-tone is just plain old medium gray. So I'm gonna wipe my brush because I want like true medium gray now. Now you can glance at a flagstone, what it looks like. Now I know this is AI, but it looked realistic to me. And I'm not going to go into this much detail for what we're doing, but you can see how you can have the designs in the flagstone with the darkness, like this probably will like with shade marks and things like that. And there's even some lightness in there. So you can really go as much detail on these as you want. I just was sort of getting some medium gray on this brush, and what I'm going to do is I was just going to do my little curvy thing and sputtering. I'm just sputtering some darkness here now, and I want it all over though. I'm having not all over in the sense that I'm covering up everything, but I want some on the edge, some in the middle, some over here on the side. I'm just adding some of this grayness here, and then like here it's still wet, so I can scrape some color here, and it's like a lighter, it's lighter than the gray I'm using, but it's darker than the base. So I just came like that for that. So that's what I'm going to do now on these. I'm just going to add some of this darkness, try to do a random type pattern on these stones, just to have people realize these are like little flagstones. So I'll just do that. Just come around. And when I twist, I'm on my corner of my brush, and then I sort of smooth out those little spots of paint. I can tell my allergies are better. I did take a Claritin D right before camera. I thought this is ridiculous. I don't know what happened. Something, that's too dark. If it's too dark, I just grab a little bit of, it doesn't matter. It's a path in the forest, on the meadow. But I don't want it. So I got a little bit of white on there, and I'm just like softened it a little bit there. So I'll just do all of this kind of stuff. This kind of painting is so fun to me, I think. But what I wanted to say too, when on tracing, I tend to be a type that will trace something like this, the path and everything. But when it comes to the flowers and like the field and those kind of things, I don't go into tracing. Even when I do, when we do a lot of our bouquet of flowers and all those kind of things, I may chalk in a circle so I can sort of have a good idea where my design's going to be. But I find if I try to trace a flower, you get stuck, because you can never paint perfectly within a line. Within a pattern for a flower, in my opinion. But for me, but I know some people might be able to. But I'm just sharing a little bit about what I do. Okay, so here I'm in the back. I'm just adding some darkness on these little lines right here. There. Okay, so there's that. And now our last thing is the shade, which is at the bottom that we can see. So I'm going to keep this brush. I am going to wipe it because what I'm going to do now is do a little mix. But my mix is, I didn't have like dark gray. I guess that would be okay, depending on how dark gray is. But what I did was I took this gray and I'm going to add just a touch of thicket to it. So I'm gonna. This is gonna how I'm darkening this. I'm just gonna move that whole green over there. Okay, because I know I need at least that much. And how you could tell, is it dark enough? I'm holding it to that gray, and you can tell it is. You could also use black, just a touch of black, and that would darken up the gray. But I thought the thicket was close enough there. So now I'm going to take my brush. Now I'm using the full chisel edge, but I'm keeping it on the chisel edge a little bit, because what I'm doing here is this is off the pattern, off the canvas. So this one's not going to have a shade. Let me draw this canvas line. Here's the canvas line. So this one, we won't have a shade because we're actually like standing on this one. We're right here looking down, so we don't see the shade. Our shade's going to start like right here. And you could go to a smaller brush. I'll just do this. What I'm going to do, I'll go ahead and trace for us. I'll follow that trace line right here. Go like that. So that's my shadow. At this point, it doesn't matter how high I get, really, but I do want to say that this line right here, all of this top where this part of the shade is, we want it to be a nice line. We're going to highlight the other side, on the other side with white, but this is supposed to be like for shadow and stuff, and so this line would most always be straight. Okay, this part doesn't matter, it's going to get covered with grass and stuff, and then like right here, this is going to come down. You maybe should get a smaller brush here. I'll probably switch to a smaller brush, but I'm going to come here and make this straight right here. And then this goes off the canvas here. I think I'm going to go down one. I just was grabbing some colors. Okay, I'm going to go even smaller. I'm going to go to a number 6 now. So here's my paint. And I'm using that medium gray with thicket. So I'm here. And I'm just adding the shade marks of the rocks here. Oh, I better keep looking up at comments. Hi Denise, welcome. I'm glad you can join me. It's been a while since I've been on, and then I had an emergency right before. I didn't know if I'd be on time, but everything worked out. And so here we go here. Now, if you notice, okay, that was wider. The shadow was wider. I'm going a little bit skinnier here. And this stone, when I painted it a little bumpy. That's okay. That's neat. But I'm following my shadow marks and let that bump stay out there. you don't have to, but that's what I'll do right here. And I'll come down at this one too. Just coming along the bottom here, adding the shade marks there. Trying to get. I'm not at the script liner point yet. I don't want to yet, but if you're more comfortable, you could tap with script liner. You get this, but I think this is because also I'm going to be adding some greenery and grass in between some of these cracks, so you don't have to be totally concerned at the bottom how perfect that is, because we're going to be adding a little green, like grass has grown on the path there. Okay, now I'm really getting thin now. I'm just going to, on the chisel edge, I'm just stroking some dark on here, right here. Just a little bit dark right here. I'm on the chisel, just going back and forth, going across. Sometimes I notice my brush is hitting it, but it'll be fine because it's so far back, and I'll be adding some thicket in the middle there. Okay, but now I'm going to get rid of this brush, and I am going to go to my script liner. Now with script liner, I'm not using inky, but I am going to wet the brush. I just wet it. I tapped it on the paper towel so it's not sopping, and then I'm just going to come through the paint and go like this. So I have a thin paint, but not inky. And now I'm just going to come along the bottom of these. And I'm just making a line. Not too many people are going to see back here. A bit more paint. And I am going to just touch back there. Okay. So that's that part on the rocks. Well, oh, no, it's not. We have to do highlights. So you can, while you got your script liner, you could clean up your stuff. You can spend all day doing this too. Just touch here and there where you might want. Okay. Now I'll go back right there. I'm getting more paint. Yeah, that was a little messy right there. Okay. Okay, so there's that. Oh, and yeah, so now I'm going to get my script liner. I'm going to clean it. I threw it in my water basin. Okay, let me get it out and clean it. I'm going to start with script liner, but it might be too little. I'm just going to see. But I'm going to add white. And I have to add white because I mixed that light gray there. I'm going to use thin again. So I dipped it into water. So now what I want to do is I just want to add, not all the way, but I'm just adding, let me get back here. I just want to add a highlight along that rock edge right there. Just making sure that shows that that's a sharp edge of this flagstone. And so any place where the shadow is, that's where I want this white to show there's a sharp edge. That doesn't really, okay, now these don't have a sharp edge, but if you have the light source, I didn't really have a light source, it was like just coming straight down. But if you have one like coming this way, you could add, a little white touch, every now and then on these rocks. But or you could even add one underneath these grays, because those represent a crevice in the rock. So that would look nice too. So, so I'm just going to go through. I'll do this quickly. I'm making that edge look nice and sharp. I'm on the just the tip of my script liner, hardly touching it. I'm just dragging it slightly across the canvas. Very light touch. If the paint starts getting too thin, like it is, I'm going to go back into my clean water, then tap it on the, just tap it on the paper towel, and then come back into my puddle of paint. Okay, be a little more careful on this. I'm getting a little fast. I just want to show you this is what we're doing. And I'll go back, a little bit. Mostly where, that dark gray is there. I just wanted a little highlight on that. And then when I get there, I'm stopping. Because another thing about this thing, as it goes back, it gets dark. Okay, this, gets more hazy, but this gets more dark, as it goes back. Okay, so I'm thinking, that's for the rocks. Okay, good. Rita, I hope this is helping. So it looks good. Thank you. So we got the path down. Now we are going to make some darkness in here and stuff, but I thought let's let that rest and settle and get the colors in, and let's just quickly scruffy some color on the field. And I'll show you I'll show you my real painting. I don't have to do reference anymore. This is like what we learn in level 1 or beginner. I'm just going to I'm going to take my scruffy brush, add 2 colors, and I'm scruffing these little mounds. These are like this is supposed to represent like, uneven ground, just mounds and dirt, just, erosion even probably coming down on closer to the path. So that's what this is for. So I'll show you that, and the colors I chose for that. Okay, I could get rid of my paint notes, my rock notes. Got page 1 is gone. Okay, so meadow. I used my medium scruffy though. Well, maybe not. I think this is medium. This is the 1/2 inch scruffy. When we get the green ones, I think the green are bigger. So this is the medium, and the only medium I had was out of the Dewberry Pro brush. So I'm using that one for that. And then when that gets done, I'm going to use the mini, or the 1/4 inch, to do some of the little background flowers. So right now I'm going to use the 1/2 inch scruffy, and I'm going to use thicket and citrus green. So I have, that's fresh foliage. Oh, you know what? I didn't pull citrus green out. It should be handy. Here it is. Okay, here's citrus green. But because I didn't pull out a new bottle, I'm going to have to go like that. Okay, and then I want thicket. Here we go. So, how you load, you dry, when you use a scruffy brush, I think that's dry enough, I can do this. When you use a scruffy brush, you know, make sure it's dry, and then we're going to pounce on that. So I'm going, and how I load this is, I'm going to pounce part of this top into citrus green, and then the other, that's only like a third maybe, and then 2/3 into thicket. Because what I'm going to try to accomplish by pouncing is to have the darkness, and then here's the lightness. And so then when I do my second row of pouncing, you can see that it's coming forward, and that it's a separate little mound of bushes. Okay, here we go. Now, when I said, oh, Rita, I'm glad you have, oh yeah, you have small and large in the green. I think it must only be the, or maybe her purple flower ones. I didn't bother to look at that because I found this one right away. But yeah, you could use the big one. I just felt like for these little mounds, I would use this 1/2 inch. Okay, so this part doesn't have to be like it didn't have to be like perfect. We have the blue and the green because I'm going to start pouncing a little bit over that. I'm going to start here, pounce up like that, and I'm going to always have to get paint. With the scruffy, I go through paint pretty good. So I'm going to come here, and then I'm just going to like want something more higher up here, and then I'll come down. And this is pounce however you want it. There's going to be no right and wrong here. And then I'm going to come down. But what I will pay attention to is coming over here. Like when I come over here, I come over a little bit, and I'll probably go into my smaller scruffy, unless I could scruffy on the edge. Sometimes, you know, we could turn our scruffy brush and it works okay, like that. I just don't want too much citrus. I'm coming back here. There we go. Okay. And this, see if you notice, is the darker green. So I didn't want to go over that too much. I just wanted to like pretend like the bushes came to it, but didn't come into it. Okay, so now I'm getting too much like a hedge. So I'm going to come back now and make these like little hills. I call them mounds. I don't really know what they would call them, so I'll come up like that. So I'm using these two colors for this. Okay, I'm stopping right here with this color, and then I'm going to come over on the same on this side. Coming up into the water. And I say I'm into the water only by visual. We're into the water. This is over. This is going like, it's like it's supposed to be going over a cliff. So let me come up this way. If you get on the stone and you don't want that. So I got my brush into clear water, and with multi-surface paint, we can just wipe it off real fast. Because you don't want this on the stone. Well, there's no rule. Nature's nature. But I wanted my pathway to be clean. There we go. This is out in the woods. I mean, out on the cliff of the beach, but it's managed. manicured. Okay, so that's good enough, but I don't, it's too much like that. Okay, I'm here. Now I do want to get to my little one though. I might could do a little bit more. Let me go to my little one. And I'm going to go into thicket. I'm fully loading thicket and just touching citrus. What I want to do here is this right here. See, I need citrus though. This, I'm bringing it over to where the pathway looks like it's going in between this group and this group. There we go. Let me get a little darkness here. There. Okay. I'll pound some more yellow. Citrus green, I mean, here. Okay, and if you lose it, where's my script liner? I really don't think I lost it, but if you lose it, come back with your script liner and some rock, and then just bring that out back that way a little bit. That's too dark. Use your medium gray, and then that shows that it's turning the corner there. Okay. The reason why I stopped was we're going to pound some yellow flowers over here. I'll show you. We're going to pound some yellow stuff here. But then as we get closer and closer, I wanted to get a little bit darker in my the foliage area. So that's why I'm switching. And I'm switching now to thicket and fresh foliage. So I'm going to clean my little brush, but I'm going to dry it because I need to use it when I pound some of the yellow flowers and things. So I'm wiping it real good, and it should be ready when we get there. And I'm going to go into fresh foliage. Okay. So now with thicket, I'm going to do thicket and fresh foliage. Okay. So pounce in there. But I'm still bringing some of this, I'm still bringing the scruffy look. And then I'm going to stop about right here. Okay. Go into that one a little bit. Oh, I didn't know this was going to take so long. Thank you all for hanging in. And if you have to leave, you know, the recording will be there for, they keep it like 30 days, I think now. My goal is, that's my other, you know, I'm full of goals, aren't I? Get them all on YouTube. Especially since they messed me up by not keeping them on Facebook. Okay, I'm just adding a little bit of citrus. It was too, I don't know what, but too fresh foliage. Okay, so we got that. But I do want to, we'll let that dry. I do want to go into the pathway because we need to add some darkness and green and everything like that. To do that, I'm going to go to my smaller brush. Gotta find my notes. It's thicket. It's thicket. Where are you, stones? And what I'm going to do, I'm using my small brush. This is like a number 6 or 8. But I also want my rake, and I have a rake brush here. This rake brush is, I'm using not a fan, but a rake. And it's the flat brush look with the little hairs there. But all I'm going to do here is get some thicket. I want dark green. That's why I'm using thicket. And I try to keep all the colors similar just by adding and not going into crazy and too many colors. So I'm just getting a little bit of green on my brush. And here, under these rocks, I'm just adding a touch, touch, touch. Under the shading, under the rocks, I'm just adding some thicket. This is to just to offer some of that, ooh, that's too much. Add a little bit of green for darkness of the path grass. Now I did not, this is very lightly, I'm just adding some color, skimming some color across here. I'm still seeing my base color. These are just, I'm just adding a little bit of dark grass in here. Going under the rocks, between the rocks actually, and if there's room between the shading of one and the other cup on the other rock. Just going through, skimming some color. And actually this is like scrubbing color. I'm scrubbing some color in there. I'm just scrubbing and get some of that thicket there. Just, I have that smaller brush, like 6 or 8, and I'm just coming in here, just adding some darkness here, and especially where the rocks are under, we want some darkness there, right here. I just have paint on the edge of my brush. It's not fully loaded at all, because I don't want it to be totally thicket right here. Okay. But then I wanted, okay, so we got that. I'm going to clean that brush. Then I'm going to go into my rake. Now I'm going to wet it, tap it on a paper towel, and then come in here. Because you do want this a little more thinner. I think I'm going to get a little bit more water. I just don't want it sopping wet. And this is just wherever you want it. But I wanted to add, I'm touching on the chisel and pulling up. Just little places here. I'm adding like grass coming up in the path. It's easier down here because it's bigger. We have more room to play with. But we can still add a little bit of touches here. Like I'm just touching and pulling up, having little bits of hair coming up here, little pieces of grass, like coming up under the rocks, or between the rocks. So, add wherever you want, you could add as much as you want. I just want to show you to do this, because this adds another one of those little nice touches to your path. So we just did that. Okay. Then just to finish this off, I just wanted to add some flowers. So with the small brush, I used daffodil yellow. These are like little meadow flowers just popping up. So with my little mini, I'm just going to do a little bit on the corner because I don't want this to, I want this very light. And I'm just going to pounce a little bit where the citrus green is. Ugh. Pounce for me. Don't be a little, I don't want dots. I want pouncing. This might be a new brush. And you're just pouncing it sporadically, not every single area. Just where like little yellow flowers are popping out. Yeah, that got a little too dark. Just try to make it light, not too, not too dark. You could come down here a little bit. Okay. We need some on this side. Okay. This is just background flowers. Okay, now then really quick I'll do some, because do some of these. The flowers are the same way. Back is small, they get bigger as you get closer. So these are going to be like where you actually see like little stalks of flowers, stems. So I'm actually going to use my chisel edge and my number 12 and paint some stalk flowers. These were the yellow flowers that are back in the background, so small you don't see. These are going to be a little bigger. So I'm going to go into, this is thicket and fresh foliage. So I already have fresh foliage. There's fresh foliage. I need some thicket though. Okay, and I am going to go to my number 12, wherever it is. Oh, here, no, I don't see it real handy. Here it is. So I'm going to go thicket and fresh foliage. I'm going to lead with fresh foliage. So I'm just here, just like we do in level 1, like the thicket, your grass. I'm just going to where's my runway here? That was a little thick. I'm just going to come here and just make a bunch of these little things, but they're tall. These aren't grass. These are going to be my flowers. I have a couple coming up here in this area there. Okay. Now on this side, okay, there's no flowers right here, but on this side the flowers are way down here. So I'm going to have smaller stalks. I'll have smaller stalks here, like it's coming behind this bush. There. And then taller flowers down here, so these will be bigger stalks. Just making them. And now I'm using my whole arm. I'm not just flicking, using my whole arm. Okay. Then I wanted to just go into thicket and make it a little darker, like they're real thick, like these. There's like real thickness of flowers. So I'm not going all the way to the top. I'm just adding some darkness at the bottom here. You could, skim some thicket down here to make it look more realistic. I didn't have to do that in the other project, but I need to here. So all I'm doing is skimming some color like they're anchored into the ground. Then for these flowers, they're so faint, they're so little. I just got a script liner and lavender. I wanted lavender. I didn't want yellow, I wanted lavender. Let me put some lavender on here. So I got a script liner. I'm going to get paint and I'm just going to tap, tap, tap. I'm just tapping color wherever I want to put. I'm aiming for these green stems that I just painted, these green stalks. But I'm just tapping now. Then this is lavender. Just tap, tap, tap. I'm not really painting a flower. I'm just tapping color. Just wherever. Okay. But now on this side, I'm tapping here. And you know what? You can make a lot of those like really neat flowers we use. I'm just doing it this. It's quick. Um, where we take our brush and we tap like the rake and it goes up. It makes really nice flowers. Now this one though, I am going to be concentrating a little bit more. Like I'm not taking a ton of time, but I'm tapping in more of a circle type thing. So they look more like a flower than what I've been doing in the background. Because then I'm going to take violet pansy. And as I said, these are all folk art multi-surface. That's usually what I paint with. And then added a touch on my brush, and I'm just going to tap into these ones, these guys up here, because they have, you know, the centers. Or I painted more of a circle. But over here, I'm just going to just a little bit near a purple, near lavender, add one just to break up the lavender. Okay, I think that's it. We went longer. I'm sorry, it's taken so long, but I really wanted to really go into detail on the technique, and then to make it look like it's just not on paper. Give us a project, you know, give us some where it could go, give us a sample of where this could go. So I think, let me see if I have any paint comments. I don't see anything where I need to explain something, but as always, let me turn my camera around. As always, if you have a question, just contact me through message. I think, yeah, of course you make comments. You can't, message doesn't work all the time, but comment me, or, you know, email me, the paintedvine@gmail.com, and I'll answer your questions for you. And if you get a chance to paint, please send it to me and I will post. And so I already know what I want to do the next Facebook. I really got into this when I was studying the flagstones, into rocks. So I have a couple ideas, just like boulders is more or less what I was thinking. And then I also thought, oh, we got rock walls, you know, so there's so many things I can think of to do this. So that's sort of on the horizon for our next one. And then I think I have one more before convention, so we'll see how it goes. I really appreciate everyone for joining and then watching later. I'm, again, just so happy to be back. I think I'm back. I think, unless something else falls, you know, I think we're good. So take care, everybody, and I'll try to keep posting different things until our next session. And again, thank you so much, and keep your brushes busy. I'll see you all in 2 weeks. Bye-bye, everybody.